Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Barbara, and if you are new here and you like budget-friendly DIYs, then I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button and the little bell notification. And if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up. So for project number 1, I'm going to be using this sign that I purchased from Dollar Tree earlier in the summer. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that tag from the top, the little hanging piece. And I'm going to be using the back part of this sign. And I'm going to use the pumpkin patch portion of the calendar that you could purchase from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut that out. So today's video, I will be showing you how to create 3 different pumpkin patch signs. So for the calendar piece, I just folded that over and creased it down. And then I just cut those little excess portions off. And for the outside edge of this little sign, I'm going to be using some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby in this beautiful orange and black check. And I already used this on a previous DIY, and I can leave a link to that up above if you'd like to see that video, or I'll leave it in my description box. So I just cut those down to create the little border of the sign, making sure that I line the colors up the same with the orange down at the bottom. And once I get all that trimmed up and placed where I want it, I'm going to use my matte Mod Podge. And I am going to put an even coat all across the sign portion of it, and then lay my little border pieces down as well as the calendar piece. And I really thought that this orange and black looked so beautiful together with this pumpkin sign. And once I get all of that on there and I allow my Mod Podge to completely dry, then I go back and trim the excess pieces off around the sign portion of it. I did also put some Mod Podge over the creases to protect that so it would not peel up. So like I said, once it's dry, just use my X-Acto knife and trimmed all the little excess off. And then I'm going to be creating a little hanger for it using some hemp rope. So I'll just take my hemp rope and loop that around the bottom portion and secure that down with some hot glue. And once all the glue sets, this cute little sign will be finished. This is how it looks once all the glue has dried and the Mod Podge has dried. And I think this is absolutely adorable. I really enjoyed making this project, and I hope that you like it as well. So for project number 2, I will be using this trick-or-treat sign that I found from Dollar Tree. And I used my hair dryer because I wanted to remove the little cat to save that for another DIY. And to my surprise, some of the paper peeled up, but it peeled off completely, which was really, really nice. So now I have 2 sides of the sign instead of all that little glitter on the back part. So I filled the holes in with my fast drying spackling. I love this stuff. I will leave a link to that in my description box below. It dries in like 10 minutes. So once that has dried, I do take some sandpaper and sand that down smooth, and I applied a coat of my white Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to use 3 of these little pumpkins that have the little clips that you can purchase at Dollar Tree. And I just removed the clips as well as the stem portions and set the stems to the side to reapply those. And I painted 1 in the Waverly chalk paint in the color white and 1 in the Waverly chalk paint in the color celery. And then I take the celery and just go around the little white pumpkin in the little indentions just to give it a little added color. I did not have a pumpkin colored paint, but I do take my Folk Art Pure Orange, and it is a little too bright for what I wanted for the sign, so I do mute that down a little bit with some of my white chalk paint. I just mix that together until I get the color that I want, which is more of a very light creamy orange. And then I give that little pumpkin 2 coats because it's so light, it does take 2 coats to cover that. So while those are drying, I'm going to create a little crate using these quart paint stir sticks. I picked these up from Lowe's. I believe they come about 30 in a pack. And I'm just going to cut the rounded edges off of one side and then determine the length I want them for the bottom of the sign. And then I'm just going to cut 3 of those the same size. And then I'll take another little paint stick and cut that down so that I can secure these little 3 pieces together. And this is going to form the bottom of the little crate that we're making. So once I get all those cut out, I'll just secure that down with some hot glue. And then I'm also using 4 of the tumbling tower block pieces. Those are going to be the corners of our little crate. So once that is in place, just to hold those 3 pieces together, that's the bottom of the crate, then I will glue the tumbling tower pieces, one on each corner, to create the little outside edges, the little corners for our crate. So I started by just creating my side pieces because I want my front pieces to go all the way across so you don't see the little edges of the side pieces. So I just cut the corner piece off and then marked where I needed it and cut that down, placed it at the bottom portion of the little crate, and then I'll repeat that for the top portion as well, but I will put that closer to the top to create a little bit of a gap between the bottom and the top piece. So I secure all that down with my hot glue. And then here you can see the little space that's going to make it look like a little crate. And then I do the same thing on the opposite side as well. Once I have the sides done, now I can create the front and the back using the same method, just trimming that round edge off and then marking where I need it to be cut. And once I secure this to the little tumbling tower pieces, I also run a bead of hot glue inside of it right there just to secure the bottom portion to the inside of the little crate so it wouldn't bow out. So I'll just put a little bit right there and then kind of push that in just to secure it. And then I will make my top piece. And then I will repeat that on the opposite side as well. So this is just what I was talking about earlier, how I wanted it to cover those little side pieces up so that when you're looking at it from the front, you don't see the little side pieces sticking out. So now that that is complete, I am going to make sure I get all that excess glue or glue strings off because I'm going to be painting this. And I'm going to be using my Waverly chalk paint in the color Truffle, which is a little bit darker than I wanted, so I do mix that with some of my white Waverly chalk paint. And then that muted it down a little too much. I believe I put way too much white in there. So I do add some Apple Barrel Burnt Umber just to give it a little bit more depth. And I'm also going to be painting these wooden letters to spell out Pumpkin Patch. And I believe these wooden letters came from Walmart. But I'll go ahead and paint the inside of the crate as well because you will be able to see portions of that. To distress my little sign, I'm going to dry brush the black chalkboard paint all around the edges. And then I go ahead and decided to dry brush the same black chalk paint on the edges of the crate as well as the little wooden letters after that paint has dried, just to give it just a little bit more character and a little bit more depth. So once all of that has dried, I just placed my letters where I wanted them to be on the sign, and then I secured each one down with some hot glue. And then I went ahead and hot glued the crate to the bottom front portion of the sign. And just to give it a little bit more stability, after I add the little crate, I take 2 more of the little tumbling tower pieces and glue those to the back of the sign just so that it wouldn't topple or tilt over. So it will be a freestanding sign. Then to decorate this little cutie, I used some peat moss from Dollar Tree in the Crafter Square section. And I just cut some of that out, or it's Spanish moss, I'm sorry. Cut that out, filled up the little crate, and now I can insert my cute little pumpkins that I've already painted. And I've already put the stems back in, and then I added a couple of little pine cones and a little gourd and some berries And this is how it turned out. And I think this project's adorable, and I hope that you like it. For project number 3, I'm going to be using this cute little pumpkin spice sign from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to go ahead and remove the hanger. And I was not so lucky as to be able to get the paper off of this one like I did the previous project. It just was really glued down there really good. So to cover that up, I just took some scrap craft paper and cut that out and used some of Dollar Tree's spray adhesive to apply that to the back of the sign to give it a nice little clean look. And I really made sure I got all of the edges in the corners so that that would stay down. But I am going to be using the opposite part of this sign for the project. So once I flip that over, I'm going to use some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby that you can get on sale for 25 cents a piece with the wood grain look, which I think is absolutely beautiful because I love Farmhouse decor. And I just trace that out, cut it down, and I'm going to apply that to my board, to my sign, with my matte Mod Podge. And making sure that I get a nice, good, even coat on there, especially in the corners so it doesn't peel up. And then once I put that piece down, I will just start in the center and spread out just to make sure I don't have any wrinkles. So now that I have that in place, I found these little decorative pumpkins at Dollar General for $3, and I believe there were like 6 pumpkins in there. I'm just going to remove the stem and cut the fabric off of it because I just needed the inside portion of these little pumpkins. One is larger than the other 2, so 2 of them are the same size and one's slightly larger. And I do set my little stems to the side because I'm going to reuse those. And I'm going to carefully cut each one of them in half. So I will use 1/2 of the larger pumpkin and then both halves of the 2 smaller pumpkins. And I'm making sure that I'm careful so that I don't break it and that it has like a nice little even backside to it so I can attach this to the sign. So once I get all of those cut in half, I'm going to paint 2 of the smaller halves in my Waverly white chalk paint, 2 in the celery, and then I mix the pure orange with the white again to paint the larger pumpkin piece. So now to decorate the little, I'm going to put these stickers on there. These are from Dollar General, and I had to use 2 packs of those because, you know, Pumpkin Patch has 3 P's in it, and they only have 2 letters in each of the little packages. So I just centered that up on the sign, and they're just peel and stick little stickers, and put Pumpkin Patch on there. And now I'm going to create my little stems, and I'm just going to cover those up with hot glue and hemp rope just to give it a little bit more of a rustic look. And obviously, since I don't have all 5 stems for my little 5 pumpkin pieces, I'm going to have to create 2 little stems. And I do that by just putting a bead of hot glue on the hemp rope and then folding it over. And then I'm going to just twist that around and put a piece of hot glue in between each one. And I'll show you that in just a minute. Right now, I'm just going to secure these little stems that I've already wrapped. I'm going to put those on the back side of each of the pumpkins. Because they were cut in half, the little holes in the back were slightly bigger, so I do secure those down with hot glue. And this is what I was saying when I would just roll that around and then put a little bead of hot glue in there and then roll it around a little more until I get it to the size that I want for my stems. And I'm okay that they don't look exactly like the other 3 because these 2 are going to be on the bottom and you're not going to see them as much anyway. So once I get those, I do hot glue those to the 2 little smaller pumpkins, the white one and the green one. And like I said, they're going to be on the bottom. So I'm going to put my orange one in the center on the bottom and then put 1 green and 1 white on each side, putting those little pumpkins that I made the stems for on the bottom so that I'll have room for my little pumpkins to go on the top that do have the larger stems. And then I just put them opposite, you know, green opposite of the other green and white opposite of that white. So once I get all those in place with my hot glue, and I do make sure I have that on the low setting because the styrofoam will melt if you have it on a higher setting, I'm going to create a border with those same paint stir sticks that you can purchase from Lowe's. And I just cut the edge off, the little rounded piece, so it's a flat edge, and then cut the other end, the little rounded piece, and then I'll just hold, once I cut the little rounded piece off of that, I'll just hold that up to the side and mark where I need to cut it. And I went ahead and did the top portion and the bottom portion of the sign, and then I'll go back in and do the side pieces so that they will all be like the top and the bottom will go straight across, and then the side pieces will go in between those. And I'm going to secure that down with my hot glue. And I left these stir sticks in the raw wood color because I liked the way it looked, and I didn't want to compete with the backing on the little sign because it already has wood. And I just absolutely love how this little project turned out. I would have to say out of the three, this one is my favorite. You let me know in the comments down below if you have a favorite. I'm going to show you all of them here shortly, again, to remind you what they look like. And let me know if you have a favorite. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to give me a big thumbs up. I really want to thank you for watching my video, and I hope that you will take care, stay safe, and I will see you next time. Thank you, guys.